There we go. MTW versus Dynamic. Game number 1 coming down. Both of them dropping some early matches, but we'll see how they can turn it around.
Yep. And remember, this is loser's bracket, so loser of this set does go home. It is a best of 3, and we will see what happens here. So let's while we're considering the first few bans here for MTW and Dynamic. By the way, MTW blue side first pick, first ban Cassiopeia and Alistar to follow. And let's look back a little bit at the previous matches. And for Dynamic against World Elite, I mean TF was a very common was banned out both games. They've banned out Malphite, Ryze, Shen, Yorick. They're worried. They're definitely worried about the presence of TF and also the tanks. But when you look at MTW here, Nunu, Maokai, Alistar, also the TF. I mean, they've been a little bit afraid of not only the Nunu support but also jungle presence.
Yeah, no, I mean, there are just a couple of those really strong junglers that you need to ban out, and so we'll see where they go with this. They're kind of similar teams, MTW and Dynamic right now. They've both gone through some changes. They have some similar play styles, but they're definitely both kind of struggling right now. So we'll see how that can work out. All the lanes match up very evenly. So, all of the lane matchups should be really exciting. Atlanta has looked pretty strong at times. I do like the Nocturne ban, though, because that's one of the champions that Atlanta really has been thriving on in the jungle. Coming in as a new jungler player, and, yes, he's played jungle in the past, but that's definitely one of the champions that he's been able to have success with.
Well, he's played everything in the past.
Right.
I mean, he's one of the few pros around. Actually, is he the only one who's actually played like every position professionally?
I think Hotshot might have, but he's the only one that I can remember. I know that he has. Hotshot's. You know what? No, he probably is the only one that I can think of. There's a couple that have hopped around from a number of different positions, like a lot of APs and support switch over and whatnot. But we'll see how this goes. Vladimir being banned off. There are a couple of strong champions left. Malphite, Yorick, Aurelia in the top lane. So we'll see where who they pick up.
I was talking to a lot of the Asian teams here while we were sitting up yesterday, and one of the common champs that came up in conversation, Vladimir, very, very strong. A lot of people underestimate him, but he's like a really big huge go-to champ for Sentinels, and I believe World Elite. I mean, you saw what happened.
We saw
World Elite. You saw what happened against Dynamic. It was pretty ugly.
And it is interesting to see Vladimir coming back in that mid lane, because we've seen mid lane Vlad, in the past, but he's been a top laner for so long, and now we're starting to see some of these bruisers do very well against Vladimir. He struggles in a lot of top lane matchups. However, by sending him in that mid lane, you're very safe. You're still going to have that damage output. But we'll see where they go with this. First pick Ryze is kind of unusual, but he's starting to come back into play. And Ryze has fallen off for a long time. A lot of it has to do with the fact that he doesn't have very good pushing capabilities. He's a short range champion, so champions that can kite or have strong initiation tend to do very well against him. But he's just a strong all-around pick. Late game, if you get into your full build, you're unkillable and you have so much damage output. So it definitely works out well. And we have seen some teams playing a lot of Ryze still, like M5. TSM, they kind of held off. I'm curious if they'll start playing him again.
But the reason why you don't often see a whole lot of AP mids actually first picked is that, the right matchup, you can actually counter them out pretty effectively. So you can go ahead, abuse his short range, really try and shut him down as much as you can. But and there you go. You have the Maokai. Most junglers have difficulty getting in onto Ryze because you have the Prism, because you're going to be stopped cold in your tracks. But you start to Twisted Advance animation, and it's just...
Yeah,
it's easy.
Maokai with the strongest top laner in the game right now, Aurelia, basically. I don't know. We'll have to see how MTW is going to deal with it. But one of the nice things with the Maokai, MTW, they don't get the Maokai Ryze combo, because that's actually a really strong pairing. You have the double snare. You can pick up kills very easily, but also you make yourself a little bit tankier, so they cancel that out. But then also they're going to have very strong ganks, and if Atlanta can get off some nice pressure, there's a lot of kill potential there. MTW going with the Rumble, and that's always kind of a scary lane, Rumble versus Aurelia, but we did see in the earlier matches with Legion how successful they were able to be against that top lane.
Let's see, they did have the Aurelia Rumble combo going on as well, but actually switching it up last second, going to be going with the Urgot Soraka combo down by, and that's something MTW did game 2 against Legion to a pretty good amount of success, actually. So
this is actually a team comp that Dynamic has run a number of times in the past. A lot of teams have. It's a very common old school comp. Having the Ryze, then the Urgot, and Soraka, and you just make yourself basically unkillable late game. You're going to have a lot of really nice damage output and lockdown. And then a lot of times you can pair it with someone like Jax in the top lane, and Jax does pretty well against Aurelia. So we'll see if they decide to go there. In the meantime, Sona is available. The AoE from Sona definitely works out well against this kind of short range team. It gives you a little bit of kiting. It helps keep Corki alive. Corki is a very safe laner, so that's going to be a nice pickup for them. And then also Corki has a lot of mixed damage, armor shredding, and true damage. That's going to really wear through champions like Urgot.
But what you can also do, you could Blitzcrank actually works here too. But Taric would also been a good pick as well. Get even more shredding on. Try to keep the tank down just a little bit. But Blitzcrank though, they want to get that aggression going on. They want to get those grabs. They want to see if they can't pull the Soraka right on in to her doom and make her a non-issue in that lane. Keep that heals. Keep that heals. What am I talking about? Keep those heals. English good. Keep those heals and keep that free mana out of the lane.
Yeah, I mean, Blitzcrank is a really strong counter to Soraka. It's a very common matchup. They do have quick burst potential, so they can wear them down. Corki as well is very safe against Urgot, so we'll have to see how that's going to kind of work out. In the meantime, Aurelia is taken down, so they could go with the Jax. The concern with that is that Jax has fallen off a lot, and it's actually switching up Malphite. There's definitely potential there. They could also jungle Malphite. It will be great as far as CC's control is concerned, and particularly since Dynamic right now, they're probably going to want to have a strong AoE champion mid that can control the fights against this short range team, and then going with the Rumble. So definitely an interesting kind of comp. Rumble is kind of squishy, but the Ryze and Urgot picks keep him safe. Same thing with the Malphite. So as long as he does well early on, he's going to be very safe in that back line.
And you saw MTW, they were considering the Rumble earlier on, but they thought, you know what? They've already established Aurelia. There's no need to pick Rumble right now at this point. Let's secure our comp. Let's get what we need.
Yeah, so we'll see where Dynamic goes. Anivia would be definitely a really strong pick because Anivia for a long time has been the hardest counter to Ryze. Ryze doesn't really have many hard counters. Like, he's generally pretty safe, but Anivia, you can push him into the tower. You're going to be very safe there, but then also he's short range, so when he tries to farm or in fights or whatnot, you can catch him out pretty easily. So it's a really common pick. We'll see how they progress from there, but they have a really high CC team. With the Corki and Anivia, they can burst people down pretty easily. So we'll see how they can kind of control these fights.
My only concern is that Blitzcrank, Pixel on Blitzcrank. You saw game number 1 against World Elite. The hooks were just not quite there. He just could not get what he needed. He was threading the needle, and there was that one disastrous team fight where he's just like, there are two options there. You couldn't get either one. And that kind of turned the fight. So I'm a little bit I'm hesitant about his performance today on the Blitz. We'll see here at least against MTW if he can be any better.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that's going to work out. And I mean, Blitz is definitely a hit or miss kind of champion, but I don't know. The concern for them is going to be who is he going to be hooking. If he gets a hook onto Ryze early on, that's going to be phenomenal. It's just that they have a very tanky upfront team. So I think the big thing is that Dynamic, they want to pick people off individually, and then they want to kite very easily with the Anivia wall. Just try and burst people down, chain CC them, and they have a ton of CC damage. They have a lot of damage with Corki, and Anivia's base damage is pretty high. So that will work out pretty well for them. However, with the Malphite, now MTW, they have an aggressive jungler to pair with that Urgot. So with the Urgot in that bottom lane, every single time his ultimate is up, they could potentially get a kill against Corki. Just get in there, get the swap, throw it into a Malphite ultimate, try and pick up a kill there with your burst. So we'll see. That's going to be a really dangerous lane, though, for Dynamic.
And hopefully Blitzcrank just sticks to Corki like glue, because truly, I mean, if you go try and get in for that swap, Urgot, while he's still in the animation, Blitzcrank could just go ahead, just shoryuken him in the face, and get that interrupted, and they could cause a little bit of damage there.
Oh, the silence as well from the ultimate.
Oh, that too.
So we'll have to see how that's going to kind of work out. The big thing is MTW. They have a very strong late game. Even though Urgot, he will drop down some, he's not going to have quite enough damage. That's going to be a concern for them. The fact that they don't have a lot of physical damage. Ryze, his late game is strong enough that it kind of makes up for it. And so Ryze, he's going to have the snare that's going to help him against Maokai. Those kind of engages. It'll help against Aurelia in particular. If Aurelia is trying to be aggressive in fights, Ryze can just shut Aurelia down. So we'll have to see how that's going to kind of work out for them. But two definitely very interesting team comps.
So with that, here we go. Game number 1, MTWNA versus Dynamic. This is loser's bracket. Loser of this set goes on home. But you know what? Game number 1, we'll see. Try and set the pace. See what happens here. And, you know, I guess, like I mentioned before, early in Champ Select, we're going to see if Pixel can have a little bit more success here with the Blitzcrank than they did versus World Elite MTW. You do have the Rumble, which has been a pretty common, pretty good pick, pretty reliable pick for them, you know, against Legion. But unfortunately, they did also get dropped down. But you know, both teams starting to go with what they know, what they're confident with, because this is fighting to stay alive.
Yeah, and once again, I forgot where I was going to go with that, but yeah, we'll have to see, you know, how these two teams can pressure it. You know, the matchup Aurelia versus Rumble, that's always going to be a concern. And yeah, we'll have to see, you know, how this game's going to kind of progress. Both junglers should be pretty safe early on. Maokai and Malphite, they're pretty even junglers. Malphite, he, you know, is a little bit slower as far as ganks. Maokai can be a little bit more aggressive early on. So, you know, if they can get some kills up top lane, that could be huge. I mean, Rumble's really going to have to play defensively early on. But as a result, Aurelia will probably push pretty quickly into Rumble, so he's going to be safe at the tower.
Yep. Xmithie, you know, he's camping out the Wolves with the rest of his team, but it looks like, is he going to make the transition? No, he's actually starting at Wraiths. Is he going for, actually, Alana starting with the Q first, which, you know, most Maokais, you start out with the saplings, you camp them out, you try, you know, just, you know, take out the entire camp, but both of these junglers commonly go for blue first, but this is aggressive. Both of them want the red. Both of them want quick ganks.
Maokai, it's actually a really common build to start off with the Q, and starting off with the Q, you're just as fast at clearing Wraiths, but it's a little bit more aggressive. You get your 2 offensive abilities for level 2. So you start off with the Q, you kill the Wraiths, then you come up. Now he's level 2 with the red buff. That's going to be really aggressive for early ganks. So we'll see where he transitions from there, but that's definitely a concern for MTW.
But here's the difference, though. Atlanta used his smite on the red buff. Xmithie did not. He's going to be wandering up to blue. He can do it just fine, and he's going to be able to go ahead and just secure it with the seal. But look at Atlanta. He's going around? Was it? There is a ward in that brush. He actually has been spotted. He's actually sticking around quite a while, but it looks like Mandatory Cloud will actually know this is coming. And, you know, I think Atlanta, remember, MTW, Atlanta made the switch from MTW over to Dynamic, so it's like maybe, you know, a little bit of a rivalry there too. It's like, you know what, Mandatory Cloud, I want a little bit of revenge here.
Yeah, so he will back off. He has to realize that there's a ward there because Mandatory Cloud was sitting back playing very defensively. So far, Ryze has done very well in the mid lane, though. He's been able to harass down Paradoxical a little bit. We'll, you know, see how the lanes kind of progress and whether or not Atlanta can get off some early pressure. It does slow down his jungle a little bit, starting off with you know, the Q compared with the saplings, but he's actually fine. He actually didn't level his Twisted Advance, so Maokai, you know, Atlanta doing a really nice job there, recognizing he could have left it up, have the Twisted Advance for an aggressive engage, but, you know, not leveling it up, he's able to transition back to a faster jungle. Yep,
and now with Atlanta's smite back up, he's going to be starting up onto that blue. Xmithie wandering around trying to see if he can actually get something down on a Paradoxical in mid here, but he will retreat back, he will fall back, just keep the farm back on up. Meanwhile, you know, you do have bot lane. Aphromoo actually getting, we got really low and engaged early on to grab. Pixel, those grabs are a little bit more on point this match around. I think those nerfs have actually kind of worn off. Granted, you know, did not get his mark on that pull, but, you know, definitely closer, and that's definitely the kind of hooks that we want to see heading on as this game progresses.
Yeah, I think if he hooks Urgot, he probably won't have enough damage to take him down, but even so, it puts some pressure on the lane. It gives them a little bit of an advantage. You know, they could try and burst them down. In the meantime, you know, Zion, Spartan, and Balls, they're actually pretty even so far in the top lane. Balls starting off with 4 health bots and actually hasn't had to use any yet, so both of them starting with 4. So it has been a pretty even lane. You know, we'll see how that kind of transitions now, because Zion, you know, he's going to have a little bit more regen advantage, but there is some damage to the hook
nice.
on the Urgot, though. They have plenty of damage to the exhaust as well. They're chasing him down. Can't quite finish up on him, but the Valkyrie from Zig trying to come in. There's the heal as well. They do back off. Just a couple more attacks. The flash from Zig and the Phosphorus Bomb. Can't finish it off. Banana. Oh, Soraka.
But here comes Malphite, though. He's coming in through the side of the lane. The ward
flash.
is in the bush. He's got the flash. Can he get the pancake? Yes, he gets it. The first blood. Xmithie going to get there with the shard, and, you know, doesn't need the slow because he got that kill. Fantastic job.
Yeah, really nice play from Xmithie there. And, you know, he's been fantastic so far in this tournament. He's looked very strong despite their losses. He definitely looked really strong in the previous match, so against Legion. So we'll see, how they can turn this around. But so far, nice little advantage for MTW.
Para in the mid, he's just trying to farm what he can under tower because Mandatory Claw is actually doing a decent amount of pressure, and he's sticking around as well. I mean, he got the boots 4 pots himself, along with balls. So the nice little investment. They want to stick around the lane a little bit longer than they usually would. Atlanta also going for those move 5 boots straight out the gate. That is the fastest tree I've ever seen. But there is a ward up there in that top brush. Ball's not quite knows it. He's playing it safe. He knows.
Yeah, he's trying to bait it out, just making Atlanta waste his time. He wants to force him to engage, and then he can just retreat, and then Atlanta, will leave. But in the meantime, Malphite's actually coming up, so he can bait this really aggressively. Xmithie is only level 4, but they're still going to have the damage turned around, and Malphite's one of the best counter engagers in the game.
And there you go, with the twist and advancing as Xmithie's time to go on in as well. Gay get the slows, the Ignite going down onto Atlanta as well. The Equilibrium Strike from Zion actually going to go down onto Mad Balls, but here comes the Q from Malphite, keeping Atlanta slow just a little bit more, but he will escape with just a little bit more than 100 health to his credit. And time to regen, time to go back to farm, time to go back and heal.
Yeah, they almost had that kill. In fact, Xmithie had tanked the tower for a little bit, then Rumble would have had enough damage to take him down. The big thing is when Malphite's coming in for that counter initiation, his E just completely shuts down any sort of physical damage, so it's really aggressive. In the meantime, Zion Spartan with the Ignite chasing after balls, and he actually throws off the ultimate as well. The flash from Zion Spartan, barely able to get out of there in time.
That is just brawlers wanting to get every single last possible punch in. Both top laners here from both teams are ridiculously low, but because of that last fight, they are a little bit too weak. They do have to go back into jungles. We'll just have to sit by and watch as both of their top laners so exhausted, just keep on putting swing after swing after swing, putting their hearts into it. And but soon both of them will have to mutually back. It's just a matter of who went in first, who's going to do it. And Zion Spartan is a mana-based champ. We'll have to do it first, and then you'll see Balls probably going to push the lane right into the tower, then back himself.
Yeah, so we'll see how much pressure Maokai can put on this now, but Aurelia, again, with the double Null Magic Mantles, so really common build, going with some mana regen as well, so doesn't want to have to deal with the fact that Rumble can outlast the lane if Aurelia has to spam a lot of abilities. Maokai is making his way down the bottom lane, though, and if he gets a hard engage, they could maybe go for this Pixel, forcing the movement speed, maybe able to get the hook here. Aphromoo trying to dodge it for a second, but there's the hook, the follow-up with the knockup, the twisted advance, and they're going to take down Aphromoo very quickly.
There you go. Those are the hooks I'm talking about.
He picked up Ziggs, though.
Zig is going to be living through that one, and since he lived through that one, he's probably going to be living through the next one as well. But you know what? Good on Atlanta to get into that lane. Hiding in a bush, who cares about hiding in a bush? Who cares if it's warded? I'm just going to go straight on in. I got the boots to back myself up on it, and that gank would actually not have happened if he didn't have the move 5 boots.
Yeah, and so Balls coming up in the top once again. Maokai getting some nice aggression, but actually MTW, they're transitioning over to steal the red. So they saw Maokai in the bottom. It opened up an opportunity. Xmithie's very easily able to come up there. Not a lot that they can do to stop that. So we'll see where they transition out of there. But one of the interesting things about the Aurelia Rumble matchup is going for the early magic resist and like a Wit's End and whatnot. Your damage output is great. However, because Rumble has some nice movement speed, if you don't have that early phage, then sometimes you can't chase him down and get quite the sustained damage that you need. So Ball's definitely doing a nice job in that lane and just maintaining it. And he's been fantastic so far this weekend, even with the losses.
Even with the loss, he's still doing fantastic. He's just getting fantastic on Rumble. Period. And I'm also glad. I am glad to see though that now it seems like a few of the nerves have kind of been cleared away from both of these teams. They're starting to perform just a little bit better. It's like, okay, we got the first match done. It's there. Loser may actually go home, but now the first one's down. Now the jitters are gone. We're performing just slightly better. And the presence has been amazing. It's still only 1-1. It's still a very close game. It's still very early on. So we'll see where it goes from there. And Mandatory Cloud being past the blue buff from Xmithie, so he's got a little bit more of a presence in mid. He's been getting some good chunk damage down onto Paradoxical as well, so good on his credit, even though he's at a severe range disadvantage.
Yeah, and with Malphite at 6, they have some great kill potential, so we'll see how he's going to kind of progress. In the meantime, though, Maokai coming down once again for the bottom kick.
And this time the bush is not warded, so this time it's going to be a complete surprise to Aphromoo and Cutie. So when this is a matter of getting them to actually come on out and take the bait, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, so they are backing off. They are playing pretty safely. Going to just be taking the golems, so that'll help keep them in the lane. But Xmithie, in the meantime, setting up for Anivia, and if they get the engage onto Anivia, Mandatory Cloud will have plenty of damage to take that down. They do ping him out, so they recognize he's there. Paradoxical should be pretty safe in that mid lane, but we'll see, if they can get any more pressure. I don't know. It should be interesting to see where Malphite's going to be ganking. And this is the level 6 Urgot into the Malphite ult that we talked about earlier. This is going to be an extremely aggressive gank, though they do have the bush warded, so they should be pretty safe.
The hook from Blitz is not going to be grabbing that Soraka, but remember, that hook is on a pretty decent cooldown. So Aphromoo has a little bit of time here to get that swap if he really wants to. Malphite's not to... Malphite actually decided to leave, actually go up to do the Wraiths. So that ult is not going to be available, but then again, there's quite a bit of distance cleared. It could be enough actually to take out Zig. It could be enough to take out Zig, but it's just a matter of the backup coming in from Soraka. The hook once again not going to be getting that land, but nice juke coming in from MTW, and a lot of damage going down onto Pixel. The missiles, they got the lock on, and Blitz is actually at half, and Zig is going to take some damage as well.
Yeah, so Urgot's able to get some nice harass, but not enough to deter them at all. So they can still be extremely aggressive in that kind of kill bot lane. But we'll have to see. Most of the lanes, they're going to be comfortable with kind of sitting back and farming. And I think both teams recognize that either team could really quickly snowball, so they don't want to lose any early advantages and just really quickly put themselves out of this game. Neither team has great dragon potential, so the next fight that one team wins in the bot lane, that could easily result in a lost dragon to the other team. So it's kind of like one risky fight. It's just a huge gold swing. In the meantime, Xmithie, he's setting up in the mid lane, so if he gets the flash ultimate, they could easily take down Paradoxical.
But look at Lando. He does have the Oracle, so he's looking to clear. But the thing is, though, if he gets, Mandatory Cloud to Xmithie, there is a ward in that bush, and Land knows that the players will want the flash coming in from Mandatory Cloud, and the ult from Malphite to follow it up, and he just bought that Oracle. He just bought it.
Yeah, that's an absolutely devastating kill for Dynamic, and especially in such a low kill game, there's not a lot of gold exchange, but getting rid of that early Oracles, and he started off with a late gold defense, so he's really far behind Malphite, so we'll have to see how that's going to kind of transition. In the meantime, Balls has been just very safe in this top lane, and Zion Spartan hasn't been able to get off much harass at all, so we'll kind of see how that lane kind of progresses, but definitely a nice little jungling advantage for Xmithie so far.
Yeah, and Atlanta, if he did have some presence up there top lane, it is decent warding actually from both teams, but well, now that Oracle's gone, he's not going to be able to really get what he wants if he makes an appearance top lane. So he's got to try and find somewhere else, and he's got reliable success there down bot lane. Does a great job before. You see if he can't actually get it again, waiting for the wave to push up, so he can actually go ahead and get his presence there into the brush, so he can go ahead and get that twisted advance on someone like Aphromoo. But here we go, Pixel. I thought he was gonna flash away, but still get grabbed. But good job there on Aphromoo to get away. But Zion Spartan here. Meanwhile, on top lane though, Balls. He gets down the ult. Zion Spartan is only going to be slow just for a little bit, and he's just going to weather the storm there in the bush. But there you go. In the meantime, Aphromoo does get the swap on, but it's not going to be doing a whole hell of a lot, and Zig has sufficient damage to take out that ugly, ugly robot thing.
So they're able to back out of there successful. That will help cut into the gold lead a little bit, so we'll see how they can continue to progress. Anivia going with kind of a standard build, but Ryze and Nivea, it's been neck to neck so far. So Ryze has been very safe in farming. He's getting kind of deep into his build, so we'll see how that kind of progresses. Rumble, in the meantime, a little bit behind Aurelia, but not significant. Like, he's doing fine for himself. The Doran shield, it does slow down his build a little bit, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. He's going to have plenty of damage, particularly when he's paired with Ryze later on in the game, and Ryze can just pick off any targets for them to kill.
But it's okay. I mean, he's got his core, he got his revolver, so he's got to sustain. So it'll be set for a while. It's just in order to get that, you get that spell vamp on Rumble, you're able to stay in lane just a little bit longer. And after you've got that, after you get the shield, then things are okay. Things are going to be fine for a while.
Yeah, and Paradoxical going to be able to transition over, get his own blue. The big thing, though, is it's a low kill game. It's just slow and farming, and so far both teams are fairly even in that matter. So despite any early advantages that MTW might have taken, Dynamic, they've been able to come back in this. It's neck to neck. So we'll have to see how that's going to kind of progress. I do think that MTW, they're going to have a slight advantage when it comes to team fights just because of how tanky they are, if they can focus people down. However, Dynamic, they have a little bit of an initiation advantage if they can hook someone or if they can, pull someone off of the tower with Anivia.
Now, it's not all too uncommon for the mid to actually take the blue buff, take it back with them, have that mana, have that cooldown reduction. It's fine. But Zion Spartan, though, actually taking the red from Atlanta and bringing it up with to himself in top lane. So, damn it, the fights have been pretty close to their top lane. So I think what Zion Spartan wants to do is he actually wants to try and push the wave, wants to try and get a kill and try to exert a level of dominance there in top lane that hasn't quite been seen yet here this game. And they're still pretty even. So with that may be more enough. But the thing is, though, Atlanta is a little bit, he's always staying on par with Xmithie, but he hasn't quite had a whole lot of success. And remember, he lost that Oracles earlier. So that's going to be a little bit advantage. But here we go. Walking right into the bush. Balls is going to find Zion Spartan, but here comes Mandatory Cloud with the Prism, going to be doing a hell of a lot of damage. The thing is, though, will Balls actually go down in response? No! The Rumble does not go down, but the Aurelia, alas, does. Rise helping out top lane pretty well, but Dynamic can grab this dragon while everyone's distracted.
Yeah, they should be able to grab this pretty easily, but really nice play from Mandatory Cloud. Recognizing that Zion Spartan wanted to go for those kills, they were able to bait it out, they're able to target around for a kill. The big thing is, like we talked about earlier, Aurelia has plenty of damage to deal with Rumble. It's just that Rumble's mobility, with his movement speed and with his slow, he can easily kite out Aurelia a little bit. So having the red buff, it allows Zion Spartan to continue chasing down balls, and Mandatory Cloud, he recognized that. So he saw Aurelia in lane with red buff, he decided to stick up there, he gets the easy kill, they get the tower as well, so they get to keep up their gold advantage.
And also Rise double buff. I mean, red buff isn't really a whole big deal, but he's been getting a lot of chunk damage down on a Paradoxical, a lot of harass, and you know what? Red buff on anyone, if you're going to be harassing someone down, is just fantastic, period.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. It's not going to help him a lot in lane, but having that blue, is definitely nice. So he'd already had it, of course,
yeah.
But we'll see how he can continue to farm in the mid lane. He's been, generally speaking, able to keep up with Paradoxical. The Paradoxical taking a slight lead when he left the lane there, but I don't know. We'll have to just kind of watch and see how this is going to kind of progress. Again, neither team have the best objective control this early in the game, so for the most part, it will just be kind of sitting back and farming, trying to pick up some kills into the mid game.
Atlanta trying to get whatever vision he can with those saplings, throwing them down into the river, and he's actually setting up once again down here into the bot lane. But it's just a matter of if he's going to be spotted by anything. There is actually a ward there from MTW, but it's inside the Dragon Pit, so I don't think they actually know he is quite around. Muffin Cutie going to be coming in first, showing himself first. The grab will actually happen over Force Wall. No! It does miss. Pixel, the cover has been blown, but they don't quite know. The Malkai's here. Here comes the swap down onto the Blitzcrank, but here comes Atlanta. Can't make something happen. Zig is taking way too much damage. Does need a Valkyrie away, but the Blitzcrank doesn't manage to hide behind that iceberg. Very well done. The Twisted Advance down onto the Urgot. Going to be caught inside that snowstorm, but the tree may get cut down here. Burn that tree down. Mad Balls going to be getting that one.
Yeah, just another kill. Maokai going down once again with the Oracles, setting him really far behind. Maokai doesn't really need that many items, but that's still devastating to lose that much gold. So 2 Oracles down. That just, builds onto MTW's lead. They can pressure this, and actually the snare for Mandatory Cloud, the flash out from Paradoxical. Otherwise, they're very close to going down underneath the turret. One more Q from Urgot would egg him, but he just barely gets out of there. So really fortunate. Zion Spartan leaving as well, but there's a turret down for MTW, and this is the point in the game where MTW's fine. They're playing defensively early on because they recognize how strong their mid game is. And at this point, with your Urgot starting to get into some of those defensive items, Rise as well, they're just incredibly powerful, and will try and exert their dominance over Dynamic.
And we are MTW though. They do have those champs: Rise, Urgot, Malphite, getting tanky. You got the Frozen Heart already on the Malphite. You already got Glacial Shrouds onto Urgot, onto Rise. Yeah, I think if they really want to, they can buy their own Frozen Hearts. If they really want to, it's like, oh no, he's got one. I want one for myself. I want my own. You can, if you want to, you can go ahead and get it. But there's still a fair amount of damage there as well. Rise, he's got a lot of mana in that kit. That's going to be hurting. Urgot, you got the Brutalizer, so that's some extra added armor pen in there. And then Rumble. I mean, it's Rumble. He's got that ult. He's got a lot of damage in his kit too.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how they can continue to go with this. I think Rumble's actually building a Haunting Guise, though. So we've
I think
seen,
you're right, yeah.
Rumble really going down that build a lot of times in the past. Really gives him some nice early damage. The Magic Pen, it's hard to itemize into, so that's definitely a nice thing. He's going to have a lot of AoE control in those mid-game team fights, but we'll see how they continue pressure it. 2k gold advantage, exacerbated a little bit because of the Oracle's loss, so really like a 3k gold advantage. But I don't know, they're kind of, keeping keeping it close. So Dynamic, even with the early disadvantages, they're keeping in this game.
Yeah, but it's, in terms of the magic penalty, it's the Haunted Guys, it's the Boots, and Void Staff, and that's really it. Those are the only items to do it.
Too, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, well yeah, Abyssal Scepter does the magic resist shred. So it's and even then, I mean that's not all too uncommon to itemize into either.
Yeah, no, that's definitely pretty common. But in the meantime, Corki grabbing the Bloodthirster, it will give him a little bit more sustain in that bottom lane, so definitely a good choice there. Particularly since they want to counter out some of this mid game from MTW, so they need to be strong enough to deal with them. So they won't have to worry about getting a little bit too low against the Soraka lane. But I don't know, we'll see how they can turn it around. The Flash Frost from Paradoxical not able to connect on Rise. And Smithy's sitting in the mid once again. And Paradoxical, so far, he's been very safe. He's been able to farm very successfully despite the threat of that Malphite Rise gank.
But he does still have the egg too. So he's been holding on to that for quite a while, just because he hasn't died yet. But then no kills, no assist to the credit either. But as we've mentioned before, this is a very low kill game so far. It's only 4-2.
Paradoxical. He's in danger though.
He is. He could get dove right here. And so he does have all the ults are actually up here for MTW. Nice wall up there for Parrot just in case this will lead. But here comes Pixel though, trying to get the hook, trying to turn this around, and all of a sudden you do have a 4-man resistance here from Dynamic here in the mid. But Corki showing himself just a little bit after move. He's around the corner as well. Ward's going down all down the south jungle here on Dynamic's side, and MTW's a little bit scattered. They're like, do we want to go back in there? Do we want to make something happen? You also got Atlanta trying to get some vision. Ward's going down into side river, and now big target down onto Muffin Cutie's head. Can they make something happen here? They're moving forward, and they've actually split Xmithy from the rest of the team, but that ult can finish that right quick. There it goes down. After move, is he going to be using the swap quite yet? Not quite yet, but Pixie's going to go down really quick, and so will Atlanta. Zansmore is out on the outskirts. He's got, there's a swap following the ignite. He is trapped within everybody, but Muffin Cutie will go down the process, but there you go. Flash over the wall to finish that one up. And that is a dragon here for MTW after a 1-for-3.
Yeah, really nice play from MTW, and their AoE control, they have such easy team fights, particularly with Rise as well. They can chase people down. Dynamic, they need to be a little bit trickier. They can't fight head-to-head. They need to pick people off one at a time. So we'll have to see how that kind of progresses. And also, Soraka, the heals are making things really difficult for them, particularly if they can take down Corki. So if MTW can kill Corki early on, Corki does pretty well against Soraka because of his mix of magic and true damage. But otherwise, if Corki's out, then they just won't have enough damage to kill them with the Soraka because they're just too tanky.
Yeah, and with this tanky team, MTW can also just muscle out that mid-tier one. The grab, not heading. The twisted advance does go a little bit further than intended, and Atlantis is going to back off. Xmithy just walk away from that one. Stun, not happening from Anivia either, but you can still clear those creep waves though. You can still push the lane into your favor, but Rise, using the ultimate, getting that flux down, and we'll just go ahead and clear the wave in response.
Yeah, so they will back off. 4K gold advantage now for MTW, and they're starting to get to that point where they might almost be unkillable for Dynamic. And again, if they can take down Corki, then the fights are theirs. But we'll see how they kind of pressure, because it's going to be difficult for them to push against Dynamic. Dynamic can just stall forever with Anivia. It's going to be difficult for them to take Baron as well. They have an absolutely atrocious Baron team, so there's not a lot of objectives for MTW to pressure. It's really just Dragon, because they can't pressure the turrets very easily. So as a result, this game's going to stall for a while, and it's going to open up opportunities for Dynamic to try and come back, try and pick up individual kills. And
then you do have champs that can get pretty ridiculous with the proper amount of farm if they do hit that late game. Aurelia being one of them, because we've seen earlier today, Aurelia gets those items, she gets that farm, she gets all the items she needs, and she can get pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and Dynamic, they recognize that. So despite the fact that they're down 3K right now, it's going to be basically a 50-minute game, and Aurelia has the potential to turn that around as it progresses a little bit later. It will be a concern if they can't get Corki farmed enough. So that's the big thing, is to just constantly keep farming for Zig, and as long as he keeps farming, then they can keep on stalling as a team. But if he doesn't, then they can just reach a point where they just don't have enough damage.
Ping's going down onto Mandatory Cloud. Pixel is on the outskirts. He wants to see if he can get that grab onto someone, anyone. The ult is actually back up here for Xmithy, so Malphite can just come on in and make it a party for everybody that's on his team at the very least. But MTW can still go ahead and just push this wave and make their way and meander around to see if there's anything else they can grab around here. You do have just Pixel still wants that grab. If Pixel can still get that grab, at the very least they can just get a lot of single time damage. But Paradoxal, she can chuck that huge. My mandatory cloud, the Rumble ult does go down, and Anivia almost getting egged here. Very, very low. We'll just barely get out of there. That's more than enough pressure MTW needs. Are they gonna go for it? Are they gonna go for Baron?
It would be pretty difficult,
they
but with
are.
Olivia, kind of
They're
low,
doing
they
it.
could. So yeah, they're going to go for it. Mandatory Cloud on Rise, he's their main damage dealer, so he's going to have some nice damage. And they're killing it a lot faster than I expected. Pixel with the swap from Aphromoo, and he's right in the middle of the team. Will go down very quickly. Now Aphromoo chasing away Zig. Yes, he's doing Aurelia and Maokai as well, while the rest of his team is doing Baron. And Aphromoo actually getting caught out. The twisted advance from Atlanta. They might be able to take this down. Aurelia with the Blade Surge, they pick up the kill. And Baron is still at half, so they can't finish it off. Zion Spartan using the Blade Surge. He's going to get out of there, but Balls is chasing him down. They have the damage. They're able to pick up another kill. And Paradoxical walking right into the middle of the team. He's going to be egged. He's going to go down as well. Atlanta turning around, trying to pick up Mandatory Cloud. A couple more hits, but he can't quite pick it up. And Zig turning off the Balls. Oh, not barely. Just barely can't pick it up.
Wow. Barely killed, almost killed Rise. Almost killed the Rumble. One for 4 in total after all that. Blitzcrank just now actually respawned after all that. But that's the thing. They did, granted Dynamic did manage to delay the Baron just a little bit, but it also proves that MTW doesn't quite have the damage. That was proof positive right there, but then again, a big part of that was Aphromoo actually leaving the pit, wanting to get that kill down on the Pixel. Granted, fantastic engage. It's like, oh, you put down a ward, it's time to swap, let's do it. And even then, everyone was on Aphromoo. It's like, no, wait, come back here. The super slow kill as he was trying to turn the corner. And he burned the summoner heal as well. And that was all the time in the world for MTW, and they still couldn't grab it.
Yeah, and to be fair, even though MTW didn't quite have enough damage to take down the Baron very quickly, with the Soraka and with all of the armor on their team, they're not getting low, so it's not like there's a risk of them doing Baron. They can just sit in the Baron pit all day and not really care about it.
Yeah.
But then they have opportunities. Pixel with the hook, though, and Balls is way out of position.
There's a swap coming in, flash over the wall. Zig will actually get put out of position, but here comes the Malfightle, the pop-up Atlanta, and Pixel. But Mad Balls, he's still making it out. He's still alive somehow. Mandatory Cloud will be in the middle of everything, and here comes a shutdown from Aurelia, but Atlanta will not be making it out alive, though. Right twist advance into the place where Paradoxical no longer has the egg. If he goes down here, that could be disastrous, but shutdown coming in from the bird, down to Malphite and Aphromoo. Can you clean all this up? There is the double coming on in. He's got his shield up as well. He gets the acid, the long, that's 3-pointer. One more! Oh!
Just barely out of range.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so there's the thing, they can force the fight very easily. Unfortunately, Pixel forcing it for them. But Balls, he actually didn't go down, so they weren't able to burst him down. He was able to get out of there pretty safely, and Aphromoo is incredibly strong right now. Rise as well, and Rise, the damage that Rise has at this point in the game is just so immense that if they can keep Rise alive, then he's going to be the one winning the fights for him. And that's the point. They have a very tanky team and a Rise, and so we'll see how they can continue to pressure it. But Dynamic doing a nice job in that fight for the most part, coming back, but then kind of throwing away a couple of kills at the end.
But I could see MTW's just continuing to make mad dashes for Baron, because every time Dynamic tries to contest it, they still somehow end out on top. And the more these fights happen, the more it's going to be just flying into their favor. I mean, all the ults are already back up. They can just do whatever they please here. It's like, well, we're gonna, that's right, we're gonna go for Baron again. Try and stop us, I guarantee you'll lose.
Yeah, but this is Dynamic going for Baron this time, and they missed the one ward, so it is warded. They don't recognize it. I'm sure
Rumble's not here.
They know that MTW sees them there. X-Smithy forcing the fight, but they are getting kind of low in the pit.
There we go. There comes the Malphite, only getting the Blitzcrank. That's a little bit of an odd interaction, but there you go. Dynamic does manage to finish off that Baron. The Anivia cleaning up Malphite very quickly, but Atlanta out in front will actually just melt to the pressure. All of Dynamic is actually very low. I'm not sure the Anivia egg is actually back up yet, but Science Martin with this swap from the Urgot will be enough to finish the job. Pixel is going to full retreat the wrong way, and he's got nowhere to go but down.
Yeah, and so juking out the slow, but there's the kill. He does go down, and Dynamic, they're trying to make the aggressive play rather than holding off for a little bit, and they do go down. They're able to pick up the Baron, but they're just not strong enough to deal with MTW at this point. So MTW can pressure this tower now. They're going to be able to pick up the tower. Again, once Anivia comes out, that push is basically going to stop, but we'll see how it progresses.
I don't think they're going to be able to clean it up here unless they decide to just eke it out a little bit. Aphromoo, he's dedicated to the cause. He's actually getting a lot of damage down onto Zig in the process. The shield will keep him a little healthy here as he's trying to get away, but that mid-tier 2 is ridiculously low. MTW did a pretty good job apart from just taking the entire thing, but with that, they will fall back. You still have Dynamic. You still got 2 members with that Baron buff, and it is on the carries. It's going to be a little bit of a hard time to contest with it, but it's not going to be lasting forever. You're only going to have to wait another about like 3 minutes.
Yeah, but Dynamic's doing a really nice job of keeping up farm while MTW is picking up the kills.
Yes.
So even though it's 17-7, Dynamic is able to pressure them. Corki, 264 CS, at 270 on Anivia, so they're definitely keeping up their farm, which is key, so that they can potentially turn around fights later on in the game.
So there is the Dragon. It has respawned in Dynamic. Hey, you got the Baron, might as well go get the Dragon as well. Try and swing the gold back into your favor, and with that, it's still about a 3K difference. And you still got the Baron, you can still pressure these objectives, you can still try and make something happen. The tier 1 in top and mid are actually still up, and you see it landed there top lane. He's trying to get that wave push, he's trying to make something happen, but meanwhile you got the rest of the team actually falling back here in mid because MTW, they're still deciding to push this.
Yeah, and so they will get in. They will get this turret pretty easily, but the base is still going to be difficult for them to move in on. So we'll see if they kind of force a fight. They could potentially swap the Nvidia and try and force a fight from there, or if they grab Corki, that would definitely be nice as well. They could decide that they just want to tank the turrets and fight underneath the tower because of how much armor they have.
It's so odd to me the team with Baron is actually still defending a push at their own tower. It's a little odd to me. It's a little strange. But keep in mind though, Dynamic, both their top and their bot are actually pushing quite decently. Top tier 1 is actually getting quite a bit of pressure, and bot lane's actually neutral.
Yeah, so bot is going to push against them a little bit, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Right now, MTW, they're kind of at a loss for how to force a fight because they recognize that they're stronger than Dynamic right now, but they can't quite force any initiation. Dynamic trying to pursue down anyone they can find. Ryze is up top getting the blue, so they are kind of split up right now. But Dynamic, they don't have the best vision. They are going to push mid though, and Anivia, she's great at stalling, but she's also great offensively. So they can easily take down this turret. We'll see if they decide to keep pushing.
So there you go, and there's a little bit of damage left on the tier 1. Might as well just go ahead, clean up that loose end. It's nothing too big, it's nothing terrible. But look at Ryze real quick. Guardian Angel. Ooh.
Yeah, no, that's definitely huge. Because, Dynamic, they have a lot of burst damage right now, but their sustained damage, it's strong, but it's not enough to deal with Ryze. So as long as Ryze survives through the fights, he's going to have plenty of follow-up damage to take people down. When you couple that GA with Soraka, it's going to be very difficult for them to deal with him.
Yep, and then that hopefully that may be the first of many because they actually got another chain vest there being built onto a Malphite. I'm not necessarily sure if he's actually going to be getting one, but Urgot may also find it a little beneficial to make that investment as well because this is that Guardian Angel play we've been seeing from M5 and get your carries pretty well suited, and then just get everyone on those Guardian Angels, just make those team fights that much more extended. And that's the thing too, with MTW being so tanky, these are long fights to begin with already.
Yeah, and it allows Ryze to be a little bit more aggressive. It allows him to get into the back line and pressure down Corki and Anivia without the threat of just being bursted down and not being able to fight at all.
Smithy taking a little bit of a chunk there, caught inside that little bit of a blizzard, but MTW, they're still here at the front door of Dynamic. Everyone from Dynamic is here to defend this. Everyone's just standing off, waiting for those minions to push on and trying to make something happen, trying to get some poke down on the tower while you're still ducking and weaving in and out here. And here comes the minion wave. It should be cleared up pretty quick by MTW, just a matter of will they actually move in any further on this push. But here's the thing though, Anivia, very good, but here comes the Malphite popping up the bird, should be egged here. Ryze trying to get as much damage as he can, but right now MTW is fighting under tower, and they're going to be caught in a whole bunch of mess, but Mandatory Claws managed to get the kill. Slav coming down onto Zion Sparrian, and he will be caught out as well. Atlanta trying to get away, flashing over to Walt, gets into safety, and there you go. Right now, Rumble is unstoppable. Ryze has resurrected, And there you go. That's the GA in action, folks.
Yeah, the GA being down, it's kind of a minor victory for Dynamic because they're able to take it down, but 2-0 advantage for MTW. Now they can push in with no Anivia to stop them, so they're going to be able to take down the base turret. They'll probably be able to get an inhibitor here as well. It's going to be difficult for Dynamic to defend against this.
Aftermo trying to get some acid down onto the Corki as he's trying to duck in and out, but the mid-tier 3 will fall here. The inhibitor likely have a good 15 seconds until they both come back up, but by then the inhib's going to be gone, and MTW will be gone as well. So it's just a matter of where they transition from here. There is still a decent wave pushing down bot. You do have top lane that's actually kind of resisting a little bit, but that Baron buff has been gone for a little while. They might want to go back, shop, heal up a little bit, and actually prepare for the next Baron fight.
Yeah, and with a 5k gold advantage, it's not a lot, but they are very strong right now, and just having that tanky front line, they have enough damage to single target burst people down. So we'll see when they pressure the Baron. They should be able to pressure it again pretty easily, and it's going to be kind of difficult for Dynamic to defend against it. But I don't know, we'll have to see. I think the big issue for Dynamic right now is that they have a lot of CC, but they don't have a good means of disengaging other than Nivea, and they don't have a lot of damage to follow up on it. So MTW is allowed to be extremely aggressive, and even if Dynamic is CCing one person, it means that Aurelia or Maokai are right up front, and so that puts them right in that kill range for MTW. They don't have a good means of taking them down from a distance.
Yep. You do have Zig. He's got that QSS though, so he's definitely concerned about being focused on these fights, and rightly so though. Along with Paradoxical, it's a lot of damage there onto the comp of Dynamic, but it's still worrisome. He's also looking to finish off his Phantom Dancer as well, and Anivia buying just pure absolute damage. There are a lot of ages of the death cap. You also got the Void Staff there as well to try and shred through some of the magic resist coming on in, but MTW just dipping in and out, looking to clear those wards, aggravating Baron, just making him a little angry. Xfinity out in front is walled off from the rest of his team, but Dynamic just wants to do that to try and clear some ground to try and get away from this.
Yeah, and Dynamic really needs to watch out because MTW, they could force the fight very quickly just to flash Urgot ultimate and then pick someone off. So that's definitely a concern for them. Then Urgot would be tanky enough where he's going to be able to back off along with the Soraka. So we'll see, but they are coming back, so they can pressure this Baron pretty easily.
Yep.
Again, it's going to be a little bit slow. They have the armor, they have the Soraka heals to keep themselves high, and Dynamic is not in a position to defend it.
The wards go down outside the pit, so MTW is going to be able to do this pretty safe. And there you go, right over the wall. Nothing. Even everyone from Dynamic popped up. Zig is still on the back line, and right now, with the front line gone, they can focus down on the back. Zig getting very well besides Spartan. They're just trying to do what they can, but no. Double kills all around. 4 for free. Zig is the only one remaining, and he cannot defend against a 5-man push straight up the middle.
Yeah, they are going to be able to come in and pressure the Nexus. Not a lot that Zig can do about it, so really nice job from MTW. They're going to take game number 1, and so we'll see how Dynamic can respond. But the big thing was MTW they became unkillable. They became impossible for Dynamic to deal with. So even though Dynamic could stall off a little bit, they were able to pressure objectives, force Dynamic to and then they're able to win some fights. Zig trying to hold off, not a lot that he can do, so they will back off. And the tanky lineup for MTW has worked out in their favor.
Yeah, that's a lot of help to get through if you want to get those kills, but unfortunately this is not going to be the case. And there you go. The Nexus falls GG. Game 1 going to be going to MTW. Dynamic is one more loss away from going home.